Today we're taking a look at Tales of War from Raven Games. I'm Mark Maya, and this is Board Game Coffee.
Vincent, get back here this instant!
Thank you. Oh, I love you too. I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you. Thank you.
Before we get started, I'd like to point out that the components shown in the video are of the prototype variety and don't necessarily represent the final look of the game. With that said, let's get back to our preview. Tales of War is a two-player competitive, campaign-driven, tactical combat game? That can't be right. Competitive, two-player, tactical campaign. How about that?
Maybe you should read the rules before you do these videos.
I did. It's just, it's not something you see every day. Oh, look! There's an advanced campaign option called Battle Bonuses. Sounds fancy.
Read the rulebook, did you?
I swear, this wasn't here when we got started.
Read it again.
Okay, so here's the deal. Tales of War plays out kind of like chess, with each player starting on opposite sides of the board and taking turns moving pieces to strike down their opponent's pieces in an effort to accomplish their objective. And objectives, my friends, is what separates Tales of War from your average game of chess. That and the fact that it plays nothing like chess. I mean, well, like you take turns moving your little guys on the board to do stuff, and the stuff they do is different, and that's kind of like chess, but with like catapults and wizards and...
Oh, for the love of God.
Okay, let me try this again. Tales of War takes place on a battlefield of your making, and each player starts off in their own little quadrant with their very own army, which they custom tailor to deal with the situation at hand. A situation dictated by a random pull from the deck of destiny.
Actually, according to the rulebook, it's called the objective deck.
You have zero flair for the dramatic, you know that? In this objective deck, you'll find a variety of challenges that you'll have to contend with. Things like eliminate your opponent's catapult before they do the same to you, or defend a designated area from invading forces. And these challenges, these objectives, are what make up your campaign. They're selected randomly at the start of combat, and each come with their own set of rules that changes up gameplay that define your adventure. Earlier I mentioned customized armies. At least I think I did. Very own army which they custom tailor to deal with the situation at hand. You see, at the start of your campaign, both players start off with a basic selection of army personnel with some heroes tossed in for good measure. But as players complete missions, they are rewarded with cool stuff like powerful new skills and specialized units like giants, hydras, and vampires. Oh my. And those new units are now a permanent part of your army's pool. Well, permanent until they die, that is. Then they gotta get out of the pool because, corpses in the pool, it's just gross. Other rewards consist of skill upgrades for your already existing characters. Things that take your heroes from badass to total badass. Moving your army up the battlefield is pretty straightforward. Well, unless you're going diagonally, in which case it isn't forward, but still, straight-ish. You see, for the most part, characters are limited to moving in the direction they are currently facing, which could mean orthogonally, like this, or diagonally if that's the direction they're facing. But to face a direction, you'll have to turn 45 degrees, which eats up one of your moves for that turn and can really slow you down. So zigzagging up the field is probably not the best use of your time, but planned carefully can point you in the direction of success.
What are you doing?
This is the part where the catapult launches a CG fireball and blows up that thing over there. I gotta stand really still so we can edit it in later.
Who do you think is producing this thing? Industrial Light and Magic? We don't have the budget for that.
What do we have the budget for?
I could spring for a poof. Do you want a poof?
I'll take it. The cast of characters in Tales of War range from sword-wielding humans to magic-casting mages and even towering giants, and each of them plays differently. For example, elf archers can strafe to line up that perfect shot.
Gotcha.
Giants are immune to head-on charges from every unit.
Bring it on!
Except the paladin. Oh, royal crossbowmen ignore shields, so watch out for those guys. Haha! Oh. And vampires can fly over the terrain and strike from above. And that's just to name a few. And let's not forget about all those available skill upgrades you can earn to improve your heroes. So in short, there's a lot of variety amongst characters and what they can do. Obstacles in Tales of War do more than just get in the way. I mean, they do that too, but they can also be used to gain the advantage on your enemy. Like standing on top of a hill to increase your archer's range, or hiding out in a forest to avoid being attacked while still being able to attack those outside the forest. Cowardly? Maybe, but it works. Until a spellcaster comes along and sets the forest on fire, and then you're just best running. Oh, and this is interesting. If I freeze a swamp, I can walk on it. But if someone sets it on fire, it melts, and I drown. Neato. In like a dark, demented kind of way. I feel like we're forgetting something. 2-player competitive campaign, unique character abilities, customizing your army, plays like chess.
It's nothing like chess.
Various objectives, rewards. We're definitely missing something.
Ahem. How do you win?
Oh, right. So, remember those rewards we talked about earlier? The special characters and upgrades? Well, one of those rewards is the Cross of Eternity. And if you get your hands on this, you win. Eventually. Maybe. You see, the player who manages to pull this out of the reward deck can win the whole campaign if they can manage to win the next battle. If they don't, then the Cross of Eternity is passed on to their opponent, and if they win the following match, they win it all. This back and forth continues until the person holding the Cross of Eternity wins the next game and brings an end to the campaign, dashing the hopes and dreams of their adversary. Oh, I almost forgot the best part. Well, maybe not the best part, but it's cool. Huh?
A box?
It's not just a box. Well, it is a box. More like a drawer. You see, between games, players store the armies they've amassed on one side, like so, and the other side holds all the additional characters that you could potentially unlock. So, once you're done for the day, just close her up, and you've got yourself a tidy little box of death dealers ready to lay waste to the poor bastard in the blue corner. Ow. You got one too. And that's Tales of War. If this sounds like a game you'd be interested in, check them out on Kickstarter. Thanks for joining us. If you like this video and you want to see more, subscribe to our channel. It's the best way to keep up to date with everything we do here at Board Game Coffee. But if you want to see more right now, we got plenty of videos to choose from. And if that's not enough, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm Mark Maya, and this is Board Game Coffee. And remember, have fun, keep gaming, be social. See you next week.